America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
While former President Barack Obama was singing the praises of Vice President Harris, she was actually in Milwaukee for a campaign rally.
She was with her vice president, although she streamed in live while accepting the nominations, but she wasn't in the room when the Obamas were speaking. Joining us here in studio, New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. Great to have you here, and thanks so much for coming on. I thought it was interesting when we heard from the former president. He's describing Kamala Harris as a new chapter, and yet she's in the Biden-Harris administration. Is there really something new here?
They're trying so hard to deflect that she is the one that created the crisis that we're facing right now, whether it be the crisis at the border, whether it be the high energy prices that we're facing, whether it be at the pump or your utility bill, the food inflation. She has been at the table with President Biden. Their administration has been a disaster, and people want to go back to the policies of President Trump that gave us an affordable America, low gas prices, in fact, 50% less than what we're paying today in terms of, just affordability, fueling inflation with high interest rates and energy costs. That is what we're facing today. We want to go back to President Trump's agenda of making America safe, secure, affordable, and prosperous again. The only way we're going to get that is if we vote Republican this year.
Wanted to get to some of the headlines that are being written. If you're looking for policy, and we talked about this during the break, you didn't really see anything mentioned at the DNC, and maybe rightfully so. It's a pep rally. They're rallying for their nominee. But here's how some of the liberal media news outlets are describing the convention here, which we put on the screen. The Associated Press says this: a double dose of Obama firepower, a doting spouse, and a dance party. Politico writing, quote, Democrats just can't quit Donald Trump. Axios saying, we've seen that movie. Barack Obama warns Trump sequel would be worse. And even some that looked into this said that Trump's name was mentioned more than any other topic this night at the DNC. Why is
well, because their policies are so backwards, and they have created the problems that Americans are facing today. They are the ones who've made this country unaffordable. They've made it less safe. We have murderers, gang members, rapists coming over in droves, and they are directed, the CBP agents, by this administration, Biden-Harris, to release them into the interior. We had somebody who committed 23 murders in his home country of Peru, caught at the border, but directed to be released, and he ended up being caught here in New York. That's the reality of what they are providing. And the only policy we've heard so far is trying to move us towards a socialist Venezuela type playbook, right? Price controls. That's exactly what Venezuela did in response to the inflation that Chavez and Maduro had created. That's why you don't have food in Venezuela, and people are fleeing, literally people trying to feed themselves by going through garbage cans. That could never happen here in the United States. That's why we cannot allow Kamala Harris to be elected.
Yeah, you point out all of your concerns about what we believe to be her policies, right? There's nothing on the website there. But we were showing at the top of the hour some polls between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. And in swing states, they are incredibly close. Why do you think that is?
It is very concerning, and she has said very clearly that she wants to implement those price controls because they have fueled inflation. We have to educate the American people about what exactly that means. Their plans, by the way, the Democrats, to pack the Supreme Court, that is another page out of the socialist playbook of Venezuela. They packed the Supreme Court from 20 to 32 justices and 40,000 cases ruled in Chavez and Maduro's favor. That is how they destroyed the richest country in South America. And the other thing that comes out of their playbook is destroying the oil industry, right? Destroying our energy sector. That's another reason why we're seeing high fuel, high gas prices, high utility bills and food prices. So does Trump
speak to that in North Carolina today?
I think he needs to do that. I think he needs to focus specifically on the contrast, right? With President Trump, we were paying $1.25 less for gas. We had a secure border. We had safer streets. We had more affordability. We had lower interest rates. That's the contrast between what Harris is going to provide. And by the way, people vote for Harris, it's going to get only worse because that's a green light to continue what you've been doing. Right now, they're testing the waters. If they get the green light, you're condoning this mass illegal immigration. You're condoning these high prices. You're condoning this anti-energy agenda, and they will just go even further. So it is a very serious election, not to mention all the Trump Tax Cut and Jobs Act that created jobs, millions of jobs, lifted people out of poverty. That's all going to expire, and that'll be a big hit on the middle class in particular.
Well, day three continues for the DNC. Governor Walz, former President Bill Clinton, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi. You'll see some of those speaking. We'll cover that as well as the Trump-Vance ticket moving through North Carolina. That is New York Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis. Good to see you, Congresswoman. Thank you.
Good to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Still to come, RFK